Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Leo. Happy Sunday. Since it is after 12 a.m., I apologize for coming live this late, but I decided to go ahead and get this particular video out of the way. As you guys know, I have decided to start covering the Naziah Harris story, but I am trying to pace myself with the information that I bring you all because I want to make sure that everything is as accurate as possible because there has been so much going on. Like a few of my elements actually told me that they have pretty much been going down a rabbit hole when it comes to this story because it's so many moving parts or whatever. But hey, some things to say. When did her dad pass away, Leo? Just give me a second. This is what this video is about. Hey, Detroit 313, my beautiful moderator and member. Hey, guys. Hey, Robin. Okay, so we're going to do, I thought it was very important to do a live reaction to an interview that Marc DeAndre from 7 Mile Radio did with the father because I keep hearing people ask about her biological father. And I know for me, for my people, I had actually created a whole playlist, which I'm still going through a lot of his videos, the Marc DeAndre guy, because a lot of his videos are between here and between Facebook. Okay. But I want to go ahead and give him his credit. Pretty much, he interviewed the father who goes by Mervyn Jennings. He interviewed him February the 19th, 2024. And unfortunately, the father ended up passing in August of that same year. So August of 2024, he ended up passing because he had congenital heart failure. He had a lot of health issues going on, which also contributed to his relationship, but lack of relationship with Naziah, on top of the fact that he was married. I wanted you guys to hear with your own ears from him himself when he was alive. Okay. I do want to claim fair use. I also would like to give credit where credit is due. Once again, a lot of the information that you guys have been hearing, even little snippets, even from a lot of other channels, are coming from Marc DeAndre, okay, of 7 Mile Radio. Got to get a man his props. I actually even made sure that I put all his information inside of the description link or whatever. I put his YouTube channel, which is 7 Mile Radio, and I also made sure to put his Facebook. So if you go to his Facebook, that is what you will see, okay? But we're going to listen. I may interrupt sometimes in between when him and the father are talking. I think the whole talk itself was maybe 35 to 45 minutes long. This is out of the 5-hour video, which again, I tell you guys, make sure y'all watch his video in its entirety because a lot of the family members came on. There was a lot of tea. And this happened last year, like I said, February the 19th of 2024. Also, Marc, if you happen to see this video and you have an issue with me using your content, just let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure to take care of it. I don't want no issues, but I just thought it would be very important for everybody to hear from the actual biological father when he was alive, exactly what was going on. You will hear him talk about how him and Naziah's mother, who goes by Lady, got together. You will hear the whole story about that. You will hear how his wife found out. You will also hear, which I thought was very interesting, the dynamics between him and Naziah's grandmother, Annette, and pretty much how she was telling him one thing, but he was finding out a lot of other stuff. She was telling him one thing, doing another. That's also too why the video that I just posted, that I added a part of the playlist as well, guys, is with this psychic reader. The reason why I posted it is because she is another person who has actually had contact with the family. That is the type of post that I've been trying to get to you all who are interested in this story, to basically pay attention to the people who have actually had actual contact with the family members, okay? And after you listen to this and then go back and listen to that video that I just posted on my community wall, you will understand exactly the reason why I felt it was important to add her video to the playlist. Again, this is a huge rabbit hole, even with the fighting that's going on within the family is very interesting. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up. Let me go ahead and change it, and we're gonna go ahead and listen, guys. So just chill out. And make sure you let me know in the comments whether or not you all can hear.
All right. So we couldn't get you on the video chat, man. I really wanted to, kind of talk face to face with you digitally, man, and have this conversation with you. But just first off, man, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm just, I'm frustrated, hurt, confused, just everything, and just trying to stay alive. That's about it. Trying to stay alive.
Dig it. Now, when you spoke to me last night, you said that you had no idea about what was going on in regards to the situation. So, what did you know, or what didn't you know, as far as what's going on?
So, I got a really, really bad heart. I'm raised at 5%. So I was in a hospital when the police contacted me. And so it took me by surprise. So they asked if they could give the grandmother the number. I'm like, yeah, because, we had lost contact. So they gave her the number. So I continued talking to the police. Everything, like she said, everything that this woman has said, it's been in a common way. She's a straight A student. She sent me pictures of, young pictures, to where in my mind I'm thinking, okay, my baby's still okay, So with Naziah and Naziah's mom, just briefly, okay, we had made an agreement when she was born that the grandmother would take care of her. Now, the grandmother needed full rights to be able to provide full care. So we both signed over our rights to the grandmother. I put myself on child support. Now, once you did that, I put myself on child support. I was still go over their birthdays, taking clothes, and everything. When I had this procedure done to my heart, I didn't have a phone for a while because I was in the hospital. They put a defibrillator pacemaker in. I had to go to rehab to work, so I lost contact when I got out of there. They had moved, so I couldn't get in contact with them. Now, forward 3 or 4, maybe 5 years later to now, however much time that was, now my daughter's missing. And that's when the police came down.
Okay.
So that's briefly.
Okay. Now, I want to say, without, I don't mean no disrespect by it, but without getting into too much your business, your personal business, I guess as deep as you want to go, why was it that you felt like you needed to give your rights up to her as opposed to raising her yourself if you knew the mother was in whatever condition that she was in where she couldn't take care of her? Why didn't you take her?
All right, so I made a decision for one without my wife knowing. See, I'm married, so I made a decision without my wife knowing, and her name is Chantel. Tail knew my position when I was in because we had worked together, and we had told the grandmother, the situation. So, and I know people are going to go ham or whatever, but I tried to be as responsible as my mind at that time could take. And, I didn't run. Everybody want to say something. Go get them other guys that ain't taking care of this and ain't taking care of that. I took care of it. So, it was only because at that time, in my mind, I was trying to protect my wife's feelings without her even knowing.
So when you said you made a decision without your wife knowing, the decision was to give up custody of your daughter, or was it what was the decision?
To sign the rights over so the grandmother can do full, so she'll be able to provide anything that she needed as far as funding, stake, whatever she might need.
Okay, I'm gonna pause right here for a second, guys. I already had warned I would be pausing in between. So to answer Detroit's question, Detroit says, wait a minute, 5 years, he ain't seen his daughter. This is the thing, and you'll understand it more as he gets to talking. Even at the beginning, he said, even during the situation before he lost contact with them, he put himself on child support. He would go visit the house. He would visit her. He would actually be in interactions with her. But while this was going on, he ended up getting sick with congestive heart failure. And anybody who has dealt with anybody who has had congestive heart failure, depending on how bad it is, I know I went through it with my stepdad. My stepdad was in the hospital like 2 years straight. Okay, thank God that was years ago, and he was able to get a heart and a kidney, so he's fine now. But a lot of you remember when we went through that. So like he said, he didn't have his phone. He lost contact. By the time he ended up getting better enough, I guess, to get out the hospital, the grandmother had moved. So it was a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts going on at the same time. And you will also hear him explain, because I think Mark will ask him, like, well, do you think that the wife wouldn't have wanted to help or whatever by the time she did find out? But his thing was he had already signed his rights over, even though he was still doing things. I guess he didn't want to too much rock the boat when it came to Naziah and her grandmother. But I'm going to go ahead and let it continue to play, guys. Hey, J. Dunn.
So you made that decision without her. So do you feel like had you told your wife the situation, she would have what? Maybe convinced you to take her, or convinced you to do what you
know what? Now, when all this happened just now, I even apologized to my wife because I took away my wife's ability to, have her own feelings for the situation, and I knew that, and I had to have that conversation again with my wife. Now, had I not done what I done, I know for sure this situation wouldn't happen, and it's tearing me apart because she would have had the two homes to go to and come to, and a lot of stuff. But my background growing up, it wasn't. I mean, I think it's still. You gotta understand it. Everybody don't make right decisions. Everybody just hear a story. Oh, he should have done this. I'm pretty sure you should have done some things too. Now, I'm just being upfront and truthful about what happened at that time. That's all I'm doing.
Right.
And if somebody want to ask, fine, but I still don't want to get away from me putting the information out here that I do know.
Okay, right.
For the main reason we're here.
Yeah, most definitely.
I do think people deserve a background like, where's this guy been on?
And that's what I was. That's what I wanted to ask you. Like, who are you? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people seem to be forming an opinion, not knowing whatever the situation may be. So I was just trying to give you a platform to speak your piece and say what you had to say as far as how you felt about the situation, and as well as about what you know, as far as going on, as far as I guess the conditions of the family that she was living in, and all of that. So I mean, what beyond what I just asked you would you like people to know about the situation, whether it be like I said, about the family or you, or what do you want the people to know?
I mean, I would take any questions if somebody want to ask, but as far as if we are moving forward to the grandmother of Naziah, I'm gonna move right forward.
Okay. So, now before we do that, though, I do see one question that I want to address. Now, somebody asked, so did you cheat on your wife? Okay, and conceived the
Yeah,
baby.
I was. Yeah, 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 yeah. That is what it would be. Yeah, that is what it would be.
So you
That
did that
was
to basically
what
protect her from
happened.
knowing about her and gave her up to the grandmother. So at what point did she find out about your daughter?
So, for one, when you put yourself on child support, they come out. I didn't know that. So they came out, and I came home from work one day, and I had to have a total conversation with my wife. And what had done happened had been done already, and and that's how my wife found out, and I had to deal with it, and I had to deal with it.
So now, one thing that was in the back of my mind, as I was learning the history from some of the family of Lady, I guess that's her name, that's what y'all call her or whatnot, and her
I
history.
call it Chantel.
Okay,
I
Chantel,
call it Taylor Chantel. Yeah.
Chantel, I didn't know, I couldn't remember her first name. Um, like what was she like when you were with her? If you could go
So
into that.
we work. Yep, we work together. We redid homes, and she was really good at painting, drywall, and things like that. So I don't know if I was arguing at home or and I used to drink heavily, smoke weed and drink all day back then, and which probably led to some of my conditions. So intoxicated, she was like a real cool person, like to work with, and I guess under influence, one thing led to another, and the situation had happened. But Chantel was dibbling dabbling with drugs back then. I believe it was like coke. I think it was cocaine. She didn't do no pricing. I think it was just cocaine. But
did you ever use it with her?
Moving back.
You ever used it with her?
Oh no, I don't. No,
okay.
No, I ain't even that type of cat. So, and Chantel was, bisexual. So, it was kind of almost like a party lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what it was. Now, as far as when I talk to the grandmother, this situation has gotten a lot worse. Now, Chantel had a son before Naziah. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
yeah, she knew Detroit.
I think, and you know what? From the podcast, I don't know if I heard right, but Chantel might even be adopted to her mother. I don't even know. Now these are things that I did not know. I just did not know. So, and then on the other two kids, if they like, cause they said they all ran away when they were younger.
And just to pause there, yes, Lady, which is Naziah's mother, did know that he was married. Also, like you were about to hear him talk about how all of the children, Annette's children, were known to run away. It was said that when Naziah's mother was 13, that she actually ended up running away from home because she had suffered different types of abuse as well. One rumor, which I'm not exactly sure is true, of course, all of this is allegedly, but I did hear something about Annette's. I think Annette was married, her husband or something, wanting to do something with Lady or whatever man that she was with. And I think when Lady came and told her mother, Annette, which was the grandmother, what was going on, she pretty much replied to her, like, why didn't you just go ahead and do it? So that's why when I've been talking about this, it's just been a whole cycle of abuse, like I've been telling you all as well. When it comes to this entire situation, just very unfortunate. So that is what led her down the path of her future drug use. And then she runs into this guy as they were working together and they start an affair, which a lot of affairs start at work because of the fact, like they say, you spend majority of your time with your coworkers more than you do with your family. And whatever career you're in, job, whatever, you and whoever you're working with, y'all understand that environment. So a lot of times what ends up happening is you end up having, different discussions, whether you're working on a project together or in the same area, and stuff just started to go too far. And that's pretty much what ended up happening with these two. And also another thing, he mentioned how he used to drink a lot back then. Of course, there are many things that can lead to different health issues, but he did make it a play to say that his drinking is probably what contributed to him having congestive heart failure. I do know for sure that that definitely is one of the biggest reasons why some people do suffer with congestive heart failure. Like my stepdad, he used to be a huge drinker when he was younger. He doesn't drink anymore now, of course, but he used to be a huge drinker. And then years later, he ended up suffering with congestive heart failure.
So this is what I'm saying. All this stuff, I didn't even know. There was no communication or relationship like that. People make mistakes. People do things and they make mistakes, and you go on with your life. And at that time, you do damage, and you have to learn and you grow, and you just have to keep going through life. And that's basically, and that's what it was. That's what it is.
Okay, one more thing that's on my mind to ask you before you get into your comments about the grandmother and whatnot. Like, so since you cheated on your wife and had Nevaeh, and you kept that secret from her to protect her, once you find out, she didn't say bring the baby home. Like, what was that? That was never a conversation as far as after she found out.
Yeah, it was always a conversation. It was always a conversation. That was one of the main reasons I was taking bikes, clothes, whatever that baby wanted over there. And that's,
That's the reason why you was taking things over there, because y'all was having conversations about bringing her.
We were trying to get, to still be in the baby's life.
Okay, to be involved.
When you make a decision, you just can't just automatically change it. Like, no, right. You just don't do that. So you show you can be there, and you show you can be responsible. And that's what I was doing. I was showing everybody I could be responsible. I kept up my child support payments. To this day, they're still going. And and so and that's what it is. My wife is a very supportive person, and it's nothing that it was nothing on her. None of this is on my wife at all. She's a beautiful, supporting person, and that's what it is about her.
Dig it. Okay, so I guess with that being said, you can go forward with whatever the details is you want to share about the family or the grandmother or the situation, or your whole view of this situation right now.
Okay, so it's like when I was in the hospital and she was curing me in on everything, she was telling me like the baby never ran away. This has never happened before, and she was seen running with some kids. So, we're going to find her and we're going to bring her home. And, now my family's asking like, well, are they going to do a police conference? And I'm like, well, Mama said they were going to do a police conference. They're trying to schedule it's going to be on this day. Now, mind you, this is like around the 9th. Or whatever, I believe it was the 9th, when we was having these conversations. And I'm like, okay, so it was just kept on, like, we were going to do this, we're going to do this. She even said Chantel came down from Ohio to help pass out flyers. And when she had gotten there, I said, we were talking. I said, well, how's Tail doing? He said she's not doing too good about it. And I said, oh, okay. And I left it at that, because, I know what type of state Kelly be in. So I left it at that. But she was helping look for, as far as I know, they was passing out flyers looking. So as time goes on, it's just a whole bunch of, like, I would call her, call mama, and I didn't want to bother her, but she was always be like, I'm tired, and yeah, baby, and she's always like she seemed like the perfect grandmother. But I used to go over there, everything was, the house was immaculate, She was always working, trying to do something. The baby was happy, cooking, things like that. It was never and she's a God-fearing woman, so it was always like a good vibe. So I respected her with a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? So if she told me something, I really believed it. I would have never thought it would be so much shady stuff coming from her direction. And then they got twins. She has twins. They used to live with her. And so now, I guess one of them don't, one of them do. I don't know. I just know that's the part of the family that I know.
So basically, you said all of that to say that the picture was painted perfectly in your eyes, and it looked like nothing was going wrong, or nothing was ever wrong in the situation.
Ever wrong.
And when this particular situation came about, they're telling you that this is something that never happened, and they weren't worried about it as if they was expecting her to come back home anytime soon.
Right. No, correct. Now, I want to say this. Now, at this time, they were dealing with DPS, that's the Detroit school system police, right? So she hadn't even explained that to me. So eventually, when I got out, I didn't want to keep talking to her, but I wanted more information, so I got out of the hospital. I wasn't even supposed to be walking. I'm on a medicine that keeps my heart pumping. I wasn't even supposed to be walking. I got nurses calling me because they was concerned because of police. And I'm out there, me, my wife passing out flyers, my sister, my son, my nephew, we out here passing out flyers. And I would stop over at Mom's house and try to get, direction of where I should go, what's going on. And she would just come out. She said, oh, yeah, we are passing them out earlier. And this and that. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do this. We out there day and night. But every time we went, they were in the house. And then the twins, like, I know them. They never came out the house.
Okay, I want to stop it there. Now, you hear how he's talking about when he did find out he gets released from the hospital. He's actually going out there passing out flyers. There's also videos of him being on the news, okay? There were other family members who also were out there passing out flyers and stuff. And what he is saying is that the grandmother, Annette, and the twins, which is the Auntie Shannon that everybody is talking about, and then she has a twin, that they were trying to make it seem a certain way, not only to him, but also to the public. And there's other family members who have confirmed that the other family members would be the ones that would be passing out flyers. They would say, okay, we're letting everybody know. But when a lot of the other family members were going and talking to the neighbors, like even the neighbors across the street were saying that they had no clue that Naziah was even missing, because of the fact that the grandmother and them really did not go out at least on the block they were on, and let people know that the Naziah was missing. There were also family members too who were complaining of the fact that they would go around putting all these wanted posters of Naziah up on the block, and then next thing you know, somebody is tearing them down.
So I feel like what's going on over here. So one day I went over there while I was having a conversation with the grandmother. She said, I don't know why everybody want to ask where, like, Chantel got an older son. I think he's around 70, 18 now. They want to talk to him. I don't know why the police want to talk to him. He ain't got nothing to do with it. You see what I'm saying? And just her attitude started changing.
Okay, so now you're saying that, right? Basically, you're saying all of that to say that, you notice red flags about certain situations, and you probe them and ask them about it, and they act suspiciously. I guess to say, for lack of a better way to
Correct.
explain it.
And to jump in again, the brother who he is talking about is Naziah's brother, who I believe is now 17. He had previously ran away before Naziah went missing. Mark actually hooked up with him yesterday because he had also called in to the 5 hour broadcast that happened last year as well, and it was they kind of like got into it a little, but then he kind of smoothed it out. Well, just to give another shout out to Mark DeAndre, he actually picked that young man up yesterday and actually got him hired for a job. That's Naziah's brother.
Right. Now, when we were trying, I said, Mama, and after a while, I'm like, Mama, we done put these flyers up. All the kids that we talking to, they're saying they ain't seen, they know her, but they ain't seen her in 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's about what the thing happened. It ain't nobody seeing her, but Mama telling me they seeing her running up and down the street. I'm trying to keep calm. Now, after we go through, and I'm going to jump right back, DPS and the Detroit Police Department, they do have a certain procedure and protocol on how they do things. If it's a runaway, I think they treat the situation different than a missing person. I don't know. Now that all this came out, I think she was reported as a runaway. And I think that was set up like that. I really do. I really do think it was set up like a runaway for time purposes. And I'm simply saying that because I asked Grandma, I said, now look, Ma, I just want to ask a few more questions. If, now, let me tell you this. Now, we was talking, and she had told me the summertime, oh yeah, she's a straight A student. She even went to the summer school classes and everything. So they had said that I pulled up, well, a guy was at the school in a pickup truck. And Naziah went out there to the pickup truck. And the principal had supposedly went out there and said, who are you talking to who was that? Naziah turned around and said, this is my dad. So the lady was like, yo, dad. So when she started walking towards her, they said the guy pulled off. So the Naziah came back in. So I said, well, Ma, I didn't know where y'all lived at. She was like, yeah, because we moved. I said, well, ain't nobody called me. She was like, well, we tried to call, the number didn't go through. I said, Mama, I was in the hospital so long, I don't even know where that phone was. I said, so, and if anything what happened, I will call you. She was like, I know you're very respectful. So I'm not thinking of the conversation. So we still talk. I said, well, what did she say? She said she asked her who was that. She said she looked at her and said, that's my daddy, Anna. And she was like, that is not your dad. And this, that. So I think she said she started crying or whatever. And she said, we'll deal with this later. So I'm like, okay. So
Now let me pause it there. Now you hear him talking about a story that he heard about Naziah, some guy pulling up and Naziah going out to the truck, and the principal or whoever came out to find out who it was. Naziah lied and said it was her dad, which we see that it was not. Now, this is the thing that I don't know. I don't know whether or not that was actually Jarvis that had came up to her school, or was it this other guy. I want y'all to keep in mind when I'm saying this other guy. Refer back to the video that I just posted on my community wall with that psychic. Go and watch that video after y'all listen to this. And you're going to hear her mention a guy that has not been mentioned, okay, which was confirmed, happens to be a friend of the grandmother. That's why I told y'all, make right after this, if y'all still be up or when you get up in the morning, go and look at that video with the psychic, and she's going to mention this guy. And also another thing as well, like he said, Annette tried to make it to him as though Naziah had ran away, when in actuality she was missing. Remember, she went missing January the 9th. Annette did not report anything until the next day, which was January the 10th. And then she still did not go to the DPS, I mean the Detroit Police Department. She went to the school department, okay, police department, because she was trying to make them think like she was just a runaway. And like he said, which I ended up learning myself, that there is a difference between a child running away or somebody just being missing. I thought that was very significant when he mentioned that, because he was not the only person within the family that mentioned that they felt like the grandmother was trying to buy time before the actual Detroit police got involved. And they didn't get involved until February the 13th.
Now, going back real quick. Now, mine, I told you when we got out, we was passing out flyers. I would go over there and ask her what area should I go in. She was like, well, go down there to Chadsworth, on Chadsworth. So I guess the back of the school sits on Chadsworth. I said, well, why would I go down there on Chadsworth? She was like, because that's when Desire walked through the field and met with that guy at the truck. I said, so she walked through the back of the school, Mark, and walked through the field? You know, I'm trying to...
So you say all of that to say that she was possibly dealing with somebody out of her age range and was not doing nothing about it?
Nah, I'm about to tell you some more stuff.
So do you see where he going, Sonia? Because pretty much he making it seem as though the grandmother was kind of like, he not all the way saying it, but it's seeming like Naziah was getting sent out to more than just Jarvis, is what I'm picking up. From a lot of the things that I have heard, again, this is allegedly, but from a lot of the different things that I've been combing through, that is what has been the thing, that it was not just Jarvis, the older man that she was dealing with. It was like others or whatever, which was kind of like what was said to have gone on with Naziah's mother when she was young.
Well, to give you that scenario. Now, Naziah is smart, okay? If that was the case, I believe she was covering up for somebody. He didn't want them to get exposed. Now, as I listen to your podcast,
is over age.
That she knows. Yep, that she knows. And they not her age. Now that I listen to your story, and it's like this guy who's one of the twins' boyfriends. You see what I'm saying? And this guy's supposed to have all this sexual misconduct junk and all this nasty stuff. Okay, you know, red flag. Dude? Yeah, I believe that's him. I believe it's him. Because I don't know none of this. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say it's this guy, but I believe it's him. I just heard about this yesterday. So now before all this, me and Mom was having a conversation. I said, well, Mom, well, how did you manage it? You know, she said, well, I think Shan, one of the twins, her man would pick up the kids from school sometimes, take them up to a shop, and they would clean up and work up there, and she would go pick them up. So I'm thinking, like, well, maybe this is the guy she was protecting. This before I even know this guy was a pedophile. So, you know, I'm like, okay, Ma, you know, we need to look at that. She was like, no, because he ain't with her no more, you know, or whatever that she might have said, you know. So I'm thinking like, okay, but now.
The father passed away, some things to say. He passed away in August of 2024.
I listened to your podcast, and I'm putting two to two together. So your podcast, I listened to that last night, right?
Right.
That night, I texted the grandmother. I said, oh my God, I can't believe you. I said, twin, you know, like this shit really hurt. I said, y'all sick over there. I said, 7 kids? Like 5 with this guy, 7? You know what I'm saying? But I asked Mama before I sent them text, who is Jarvis? You know, this woman sat up there and act like she ain't know who he was, and then was like, boyfriend. I said, well, is that the one that got in custody? She was like, look, her voice got real uppity then. She was like, look, I'm not saying nothing. The police say people gonna say things when you get out here, they gonna and don't believe them until they come back and tell you what's what. But I've been asking you the truth about these situations, and you haven't been truthful not once. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Just like when she was in the court, again, if you watch that preliminary hearing, and they called her to testify, and she sat there and tried to act like she did not see him sitting in that courtroom.
she go back and tell the police, my daughter has been running away. But you tell me she has never done it before. I mean, it's so many things that's not added up.
I mean, and that's the thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people as far as, and I'm not here to throw nobody under the bus. I'm just discussing the things that I've heard and the things that I see. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are saying that the story from the story from the person that it's coming from is switching up, like, you know, left and right, up and down. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And then so when I'm given the information that I'm heard, it may, I mean, that I'm being told, it may sound like my shit is up, down, left, and right. You know what I mean? But
right, but I mean, coming from the grandmother, man, this should be on point. Period.
And I'm gonna say this. You know, I actually obtained a contact number for the grandmother, and I called her not long ago, less than 2 hours ago, and I reached out to her, you know, respectfully, and said, I'm Marc Needham, Sell My Radio. I'm a citizen journalist. I have an independent media outlet, and I've been kind of covering the story over the last couple of days, and I wanted to reach out to you to see if you want to have a conversation and share your piece on what's going on. You know, I mean, I'm unbiased. I'm not the police. I'm not, I'm a citizen journalist. I'm not even the mainstream terrestrial news corporate outlet. You know what I mean? So I was just giving her a platform to speak. And, to me personally, she sounded a little, I don't know if it was worried, disgruntled or whatnot, but she declined my offer to speak and got off the phone real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. She ain't trying to deal with none of this, man. I'm telling you. That's why I didn't even want to ask her questions, because her demeanor was off. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to respect her. She has always been, when you say grandmother, I'm talking like a respectable person. I don't even know what all this stuff, all the adoptions and all this stuff. It didn't even seem like that was in that category. It's like she's been adopted.
From what I hear, the grandmother, I don't know how true it is, right? But two other people is telling me they don't know how she ended up with not only your kids, but the other 7 kids under the age of 10 that's in the house right now, because she in fact lost her kids to CPS when they were younger. Her 5 kids, they all ran away or something like that. But that's just a story that I'm told. So
right. Oh my God.
But yeah, man, like I said, man, I really just wanted to, like I said, hear, how you felt, you know what I'm saying, see, how you was doing, and give you a platform to speak, and ask you a couple of questions, because the main concern, from even me, was like, where's her dad at? Like, where's he at all of this time? Just wanted to, give you an opportunity to speak and tell everybody what it is that you was going through in regards to all of this.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, man, because, when I do talk to police, you only get you listen, and you got to let them do their job. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate the Detroit Police Department. I do appreciate DPS. Because when Detroit stepped in, bro, all this stuff started moving like clockwork. Oh. You know what I'm saying? When Detroit Police got the case, everything started moving like clockwork. I want to get Tamara, that police commissioner. She has been overly outstanding. Eric from the 300. My sister Kelly Stein. She has been networking, doing things, and I appreciate it. I mean, I'm talking about Eric called me for the 300. called me at night. We got to talking, and he said, "Hold on, we talking to the deputy chief trying to get answers through." I didn't even know they worked that night like that, you know. So, and I really do appreciate it, and I really do think if it wasn't misled, I think a lot of stuff could have been done a lot faster.
And we gonna end it right there, guys, because he pretty much told the majority of what I felt was important within this 5 hour broadcast. Again, it is inside of the description link, all of Marc DeAndre's information. I am guys spell. Yo, what up though, Leo? Shout out to 7 Mile Radio. Yeah, shout out to him, definitely. He says, I saw when he broke the story on Indiana Street. I wasn't far from there on Kentucky. Yes, and that's exactly why I have made sure to give him his props, because a lot of the information that I have been getting have been from listening to his different podcasts, between here and actual Facebook. And Shannon called into this episode. The auntie, she called into there twice. I believe the brother called in, then another cousin called in, and they got into it. It was a lot going on within this podcast, but I definitely wanted to highlight what the biological father had to say with the words coming from his own mouth, even though he has now passed on. Okay. So, yeah, guys, this is pretty much it. I have been looking at some other stuff as well. I'll come back to you all with the video concerning that. I don't know whether it's going to be live or just upload, but again, I'm trying to give it to you guys in doses of what I feel are the important parts. Unfortunately, again, if you are new to this story, Naziah Harris has still not been found. In regards to the person who they are accusing of being a part of her unaliving, because do consider her to be unalive, it is Jarvis Butts. He had a hearing that happened on January the 17th, which I believe was Thursday, from what I was told, that he will be having another hearing on March the 7th. Also, there was a discrepancy that was put in CBS News, to where initially they had put that when he went to make his plea, they had put that he had pleaded guilty, but in actuality, he had pleaded not guilty. A lot of people had saw that first article, but then CBS went back in and they corrected it to make it plain that he actually pled not guilty. So when March 7 comes up, that is hopefully when they will announce when the actual trial will start. Okay. Everybody knows that, again, when a trial starts, before day one, they have to get the jurors and everything like that. So hopefully some headway will be made March the 7th, but justice is a process. Also, there has been a lot of people trying to take things into their own hands. It was this young lady that actually broke into Jarvis' shop yesterday. She has been going viral on Facebook. My attitude about it is this: allow the police and the powers that be to do their damn job. Allow them to do their job. Okay, that's just how I feel about that. Everybody was complaining about the fact that they didn't feel that they was moving fast enough, even though it's coming out more and more and more that the reason why they were a month behind is because of the grandmother and the auntie pretty much bull crapping and not being completely honest about whether or not she was actually missing or she had ran away. So that is what gave them a late start. That's number one. Number two, a lot of the questions that are being posed that I'm seeing in these different groups. Did they search this? Why didn't they search that? Did they look at the phone records? Did they this and that? All of that will come out in trial, guys. You have to give them a chance. Okay. So stop going and searching stuff and looking at stuff because y'all don't know what y'all doing. You don't know whether or not different evidence is being destroyed by you being there. This girl went missing over a year ago. So I'm quite sure, even with them having a late month start, that they did look through phone records and all types of stuff. They probably just have not presented all the evidence and stuff to the public because They are in the process of trying to build a case. Allow them to do that. In regards to the family that is still fighting back and forth and all of that, I pray that they do get that together, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that this girl is found and that she can be given a proper burial. Okay. But that's all I have to say in regards to this. Shout out to everybody that's in here. If you catch the replay, make sure you leave your comments about how do you feel about everything. Also, again, make sure to please go and support Marc DeAndre's channels. His YouTube channel, which is 7 Mile Radio, and his actual Facebook channel, which has a lot more podcasts on there, on his actual name channel, all in the description link. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday, and I'll be back to you guys when I can. Bye, y'all.